So where do we start today's broadcast? So much occurring over the last 24 hours. Some great news, some expected, and some absolutely hilarious. But nonetheless, Pam Bondi has now begun her crusade against anti-Christian bias with an announcement which will have the left absolutely rolling over, incensed, incendiary, out of their mind crazy. We're going to play that for you. You've also heard rumors now, of which we've reported for many weeks, that Elon Musk is out. Well, at least mostly out. And the reasoning for that decision is just a portion of the stories we're going to bring you today. Also, President Trump himself finding a way to challenge rogue judges in a way no one saw coming. But our stories continue today because J.D. Vance has announced it. It's done. Do you know what he's referring to? One of the most critical trade negotiations to date. And of course, the mainstream media won't cover it for you because they don't want you to understand the impact of what just occurred. And don't worry, there ain't no way in heck I'm letting this one go. And I will bring you all this and so much more in just 1 minute. Oh, there he is. We're going to start with Klaus Schwab. Out of the World Economic Forum. Who would replace him was the question, well, until yesterday. We already know that there's been claims of a toxic workplace for years. Numerous accusations of sexual harassment and discrimination against women. Well, it just got a whole lot worse because his own organization opens a probe into Klaus Schwab. On what specifically, you might ask? Looks like they're turning on him fast, huh? He withdrew thousands in cash using junior staffers as gophers. He used the WF property, Villa Mundi, as a private retreat. His wife funded many of their vacations by disguising it as business travel. And then he charged private hotel massages to WEF accounts. Don't pollute. Watch the environment. Let me take my private jets. Let me have my private massages. But, well, it's all going to come out now, isn't it? His family fleeing the organization. World Economic Forum shakes up senior leadership. His son is out. I'm going to go do my own thing. But Schwab, who's now accused of getting private massages, also has someone else out, which is Jeremy Jurgens, and that kind of leads to the joke. I know, come on, I'm so sorry. Private massages and Jurgens are out. I couldn't let it go, folks. If you get the joke, just don't be descriptive, but at least tell me you did down below. But that's just the beginning of what's occurred. Because some things drove me insane. In the case of Velasquez versus Bondi, the Supreme Court ruled yesterday. Do you know what they ruled? That if the 60-day countdown for voluntary departure included a weekend, then technically you can't include the weekend or the holiday in the 60 days. My question on this is rather simple. They continue to claim constitutional protection. If you are here illegally, are you protected by the U.S. Constitution? Asking for a friend. Because I don't understand how the Supreme Court of the land doesn't get simple concepts. And they really don't. It should be that black and white. What Trump wants to do is protected by the Constitution and those who are protected by the Constitution. If you're here illegally, why are you getting anything protected under the Constitution? Why does the Supreme Court even allow to rule on it? Is it really that black and white, or am I missing something? Because I'd sure the heck like to know, and I'd love to see it in the comments below. But for me, it's a very black and white concept. But I guess there's not much really black and white anymore. Of course, that's what we work day and night to provide you, black and white concepts behind what they want to appear to be very complex. So if you like what I'm doing, and as I've seen thousands of you now do, you've subscribed to the channel. Thank you. If you're new here, welcome home. We just try to keep everything real basic, real black and white, so that they don't confuse you with the amount of misinformation and misdirection that they provide on a daily basis. Those of you who've gone the additional step and supported me via membership here, thank you. The super thanks I appreciate. And then even more of you have chosen now to go to Restricted Republic, the platform Lisa Haven and I created for you. It's audience-funded news. There is no commercials and no interruptions because there is no sponsors, because we are beholden to no one at restrictedrepublic.com. It's our news channel that has every broadcast we publish, everywhere. All commercials and interruptions removed, plus daily exclusive content that could only be provided there for, well, very good reason. Trust me, it's why the platform is blowing up right now. It's exploding, and I have each and every one of you to thank you for that. I want you there today, restrictedrepublic.com. But now let's get on with this broadcast. Some other good news coming out of Marco Rubio. Today is the day under the President of the United States leadership, and at my direction, we are reversing decades of bloat and bureaucracy at the State Department. These sweeping changes will empower our talented diplomats to put America and Americans first. What a concept. Difficult one for most people. We are facing, tripping over my words today, sorry. We are facing tremendous challenges across the globe to deliver on President Trump's America First foreign policy. We must make the State Department great again. In its current form, the department is bloated, bureaucratic, and unable to perform its essential diplomatic mission. In this new era of great power competition, over the past 15 years, the department's footprint has had unprecedented growth and costs have soared, but far from seeing a return on investment, taxpayers have seen less effective and efficient diplomacy. We saw plenty of diplomacy. It just wasn't there to represent we the people. It was there to represent a much larger global order they so desired. The sprawling bureaucracy created a system more beholden to radical political ideology than advancing America's core international interests, which of course we know the prior administration wasn't concerned about. That is why today I'm announcing a comprehensive reorganization plan that will bring the department into the 21st century. Oh, it appears a lot of people are about to lose their jobs now, aren't they? This approach will empower the department from the ground up, from the bureaus to the embassies. Region-specific functions will be consolidated to increase functionality. Redundant offices will be removed, and non-statutory programs that are misaligned with America's core national interests will cease to exist. Under President Trump's leadership, we have a commander-in-chief committed to putting America and Americans first, and his Secretary of State, as his Secretary of State, I am confident a reformed State Department will meet the moment and help make our country great once again. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, amazing announcement. Many amazing announcement yesterday. They got some of the weirdest ads on this. I am so sorry you even have to see it. I'm just going to lower that down. Turns my stomach looking at some of those. Trump reveals major deportation plan. Rogue judges can't stop it. Now, what has Trump done behind the scenes? He can't, right now, fight many of these rogue judges. So what is he doing? Well, he's allowing almost no one to cross the border, including, in some cases, those claiming to be seeking asylum. You see, if you can't beat them, well, don't join them. Just fight them 3 times as hard, because your numbers will come down, because eventually, if that faucet's turned off, numbers here will continue to decline as Trump has to fight ruling after ruling after ruling by those finding constitutional protection who are here illegally. I'll continue to say that because, again, it is that black and white, no matter what anybody tries to report to you. But another victory for Trump yesterday. It appears the 60 Minutes executive producer, he just can't take it anymore. He's about to lose that lawsuit between Trump and 60 Minutes. And so what does he do? Well, like every left-leaning, I have a lot of words to use here. I'm trying to pick my word carefully. Well, they're cowarding out and running. So he's out. I'm no longer allowed to make independent decisions. 60 Minutes, you've never made independent decisions, in my humble opinion. No, you made opinions that were one-sided. left-leaning, and not in alignment with what I would want to view anyway. So good. I'm glad you're done. When's Leslie Stahl leaving? And when can we actually get the old 60 Minutes back that I used to watch as a child? I didn't want to back then. No, my dad always had it on, and that was the show we had to watch. But there was things we learned. Not anymore. Now if I want to tune in, I might as well be tuning into the DNC. And so you're going to step away because you got a little resistance, and you're going to lose a lawsuit that shows that you worked against Trump exclusively and rebuked everything he tried to stand for. So goodbye and good riddance. Great news today. J.D. Vance says it's final. Do you know what he's referring to? Well, a story that nobody will cover because it's not sexy, it's not cool, but it's important, critically important. Nobody will cover it for you. Critics have attacked my president, President Trump, for stating a trade war in an effort to bring back jobs of the past, but nothing could be further from the truth. He seeks to rebalance global trade, and who would be one of those key global trade partners? It would be India. Nobody talks about it. It's not Russia. It's not Ukraine. It's not China. It's India. So what is Vance out there doing? He's building the paths to success. He knows how critical it is. As many of you are aware, both of our governments are hard at work on a trade agreement building on shared priorities like creating jobs, building durable supply chains, and achieving prosperity for our workers. In our meeting yesterday, Prime Minister Modi and I made very good progress on all those points, and we are especially excited to formally announce that America and India have officially finalized the terms of reference for the trade negotiation. And this should be sounding off everywhere, but this is how you know you shouldn't be watching mainstream media, because this is a major victory, and there ain't no way they're going to give Vance or Trump credit for it. But it is a major progress step, because if you can't get those goods out of China anymore, who else is capable of producing some of them? That'd be India. But you got announcements coming out from China. Anybody who partners with the U.S. will meet with repercussions. You have people within our own, not administration, sorry, within our own Congress. Anybody who participates with Trump will meet with dire consequences. They all want this to stop because this breaks the global handcuffs, and it uproots the order and the direction it was heading, and Trump has a major victory, and it is a shame that everyone simply won't cover it. But a lot of brewing stories yesterday. Now a more cryptic story developing. This will be a made-for-TV movie eventually. Unfortunately, someone has met with dire consequences, the consequence of death. So I'm going to give you a background here. Jessica Aber, you've heard this. 2 Russian nationals charged in connection with operating billion-dollar money laundering services by the Justice Department, followed by Virginia company and 2 senior executives charged with illegally exporting millions of dollars of U.S. technology to Russia November 4th of 2024. And whose desk does it land on? Jessica Aber, U.S. attorney, found dead at 43, was in charge of high-profile cases targeting CIA leaks. Well, a little bit more is happening in this case now, because it appears the circumstances surrounding it and the characters surrounding it. Here's a $10 million reward for one of the characters in this case, Sergey Evenoff, to be more specific. U.S. files first ever war crime charges accusing Russian soldiers of torturing American Ukraine. Who was involved in this case also? That's right. It started with Merrick Garland, but it ended up on Jessica Aber's desk also. She had a lot of really bad people surrounding her. And one of them even pled guilty to leaking top secret documents about Israel's plan to strike Iran, him to be more specific. And when you're surrounded by this many cast of characters and suddenly found dead at 43, the investigation has now begun. It is a dangerous world we live in. And it applies to the world that Trump is now trading in, managing, and leading. This is the threat level, and nothing goes to illustrate it more than this case. Former U.S. Attorney Jessica Aber found dead in Virginia. And Trump is facing these same folks. This is no joke. This just goes to illustrate the danger level that sits on his shoulders on a day-to-day basis, especially when you keep pissing people off, right? Axios, EPA fires or reassigns hundreds of staffers as was promised. But the explanation by Axios goes to paint in that bigger picture, doesn't it? The large-scale changes could effectively end much of the EPA's work tackling pollution in historically disadvantaged communities. Somehow pollution only finds its way to disadvantaged communities. It doesn't find its way to anyone else. It doesn't affect anyone else's atmosphere. It only affects disadvantaged communities. Hence why what they are doing and Lee Zeldin's doing has to be done. The EPA has 15,000 employees, and they're starting their cuts. And Rubio's starting his cuts. And Trump is responding. But at least people are waking up to it now. Even Hollywood actors, you remember The Office, right? One of my favorite characters in The Office, portrayed by Rainn Wilson, who did it. Well, he has something to say about all of this, and I couldn't agree more with the position he took.
I'm talking about left-leaning news media organizations were kind of like, la, 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 everything's fine. Look, the look, the economy's great, la, 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 immigration's not that much of a problem. And really being Cleopatra, queen of denial. Thank you. Boom.
In his classic style. But even Hollywood now starting to admit what we've all been witnessing for years. It only matters when it matters to them. Even if it was the same story today, it suddenly wouldn't matter to them. And hence why media was never meant to be biased. Just give me the facts and let me disseminate it from there. Yeah, you can have some fun with it like we do here. Absolutely, you have to. Because the news cycle will drive you absolutely insane. Just like this story. How long have we covered the Garcia story now, right? And you think we get a ray of light? You think we get some hope? No, we get more admonishment from the judge involved in the case. She lashed out at Trump yesterday and his administration in the case of Kilmer, Armando Abrego Garcia. What does she state? Let's go full screen here. False premise objections. Defendants object to certain discovery because they claim the requests are based on the false premise that the United States can or has been ordered to facilitate Abrego Garcia's release from custody in El Salvador. Defendants and their counsel well know the falsehood lies not in any supposed premise, but in their continued mischaracterization of the Supreme Court's order. The order made clear that the court properly required the government to facilitate Abrego Garcia's release from custody in El Salvador and to ensure that his case is handled as it would have been, not improperly, sent to El Salvador. Defendant's objection reflects a willful and bad faith refusal to comply with discovery obligations. The objection is overruled. Defendants are therefore ordered to supplement their answers in full compliance with the federal rules of civil procedure. Their answers must include fact responsive to request, not oblique and incomplete, nonspecific characterizations. And to that, I say, Trump and your administration, bravo. Continue it forward. These rulings are useless. Where is your non-oblique and incomplete, non-specific characterizations of actual federal law? No, you are protecting, again, someone here illegally under the laws provided to us by the Constitution of the United States, of which someone here illegally does not fall under the laws of the Constitution of the United States. At least someone has some common sense now. Pam Bondi that has Christians cheering. This breaking news finally, after I was irritated beyond irritation, gave me some moment of solace to realize that the system is working. Listen in here for 1 minute.
Thank you all for joining us today. We're excited to be here for the launch of the Task Force to Eradicate Anti-Christian Bias as outlined in the President's Executive Order. Joining me today are members of the task force and individuals who have been impacted by the anti-Christian bias. Together, this task force will identify any unlawful anti-Christian policies, practices, or conduct across the government. Seek input from the faith-based organizations and state governments to end anti-Christian bias. Find and fix deficiencies in existing and regulatory practices that might contribute to the anti-Christian bias. As President Trump has stated, the Biden administration engaged in an egregious pattern of targeting peaceful Christians while ignoring violent anti-Christian offenses. The president is right. Biden's Department of Justice abused and targeted Christians. Pro-life Christians were arrested and imprisoned for peacefully praying outside abortion clinics. The FBI spied on traditional Catholics in their parishes. President Biden declared Easter Sunday to be Transgender Day of Visibility. No longer. Vandalism against churches was 8 times higher in 2023 than it was in 2018. And as at President Trump's directive, we ended those abuses at the Department of Justice on day one. We dropped 3 ongoing cases against pro-lifers and redefined the FACE Act to ensure that abuse would not continue and that American tax dollars were not used to support the weaponization of our legal system.
And just looking at that table, what a powerhouse, huh? Bondi, Hegseth, RFK Jr., and Marco Rubio. That is how important it is to the administration. So after all the aggravation we faced, at least then we get a moment of clarity. And that's all we're looking for, is moments of clarity. Elon out. Well, I already told you he was going to be out. There was an end date to this entire Doge principle. Now, will Doge continue? Yes. But he's got a big problem because all his money, it's being hurt right now. Tesla is hurt. Even some of these trade negotiations are hurting Tesla. So I think starting probably next month in May, as I announced to you, my time allocated to Doge will drop significantly if it exists at all. He has to get back to tend to his company. Much of the major work of Doge is done. Now it has to be litigated. Although the billionaire entrepreneur holds the title of special government employee, a designation that legally limits him to 130 days of federal work per year, his presence in the Capitol has been nothing short of influential. Musk indicated that the heavy lifting to establish Doge is mostly done. That doesn't mean Doge just stops. It can continue. Just he has to step aside for a while. Allowing him to reallocate his schedule, I will spend a day or 2 per week on government matters if President Trump wants me to, he said, but emphasizes that more of his attention will now return to Tesla. And why? Because Tesla's a disaster. Revenues, $19.34 billion. Big miss. He was supposed to hit $21.37 billion. I know we're talking billions of dollars. In their world, that's significant. EPS 27C, missing estimates of 43C, gross margin 16.3, down from 17.4. Operating income $399 million, down 66% year over year. Yeah, when you go from 1.13 billion in operating income to 399 million, you're hemorrhaging. The company is hemorrhaging. He really has no choice but to go back and take the reins again. Just so you know the basis of what's happening. It's not this big story. He already said in May, more than likely, Trump has already declared that it would eventually come to an end. So don't believe the headlines of Inside Elon Musk's Meltdown, Tesla in freefall, and Rose with Trump's tariff advisor. It's a smokescreen for something that was already destined to happen. They're using it to capture clicks. They're using it to capture your attention. Because the reality was it was always going to diminish or go away, at least as Elon Musk is concerned. Doge will continue, but his involvement always had an expiration date. I love you all. Can't wait to see your comments. I know I get a little riled up sometimes, but you deserve it. I don't give you anything here but reality, not fake news, in black and white as possible. I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justus Knight, signing out.